kind of deliver this new information. So thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. All right, so let's kind of get going. So tonight is, battling the quarantine 19. It's been kind of a Facebook meme or social media meme, or I think people have talked about it amongst friends and family that there tends to be some weight gain going around specific to these unique circumstances we've been under. So what do we do about that, and how do we come up with some permanent metabolism type solutions? So that's kind of what we're gonna head into tonight, and hopefully provide some great information that you'll be able to really implement starting tonight. So just a brief kind of intro for those of you who don't know me. My name is Dr. Chris Cox. I'm a chiropractor here at Lifeline Wellness Center. I've been working with patients and nutrition and health and well-being for over 25 years, and lots of ups and downs personally as well. So as you can see from one of the rare pictures that I still have, back in 2008, I was almost 250 pounds. And about 2 years later, I was down to about 190, completing a full Ironman triathlon. So along with injuries along the way and all that kind of stuff. And the only reason I bring that up is that all of these experiences that I've gone through help me actually help people better. I have a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy for where people struggle. Knowing that I've carried 60 extra pounds around in my body, I know what that feels like, not just physically, but mental, emotionally too. So sharing in that and understanding where the challenges really lie. I'm also a husband and a father. So I understand how the dynamic of relationships, work relevant to making changes in our life to generate weight loss and changes in health and stuff like that. I have 4 teenagers at home. So, trying to I would love to tell you that, knowing what I know about nutrition and food and all that kind of stuff makes it really easy to get, teenagers to eat healthy. I can tell you that is not necessarily the truth. So there are some challenges. I'd like to use that knowledge and that experience and that wisdom to help people succeed in kind of leapfrog through some of the challenges as they're making really positive changes in their life. And I'm part of a team here at Lifeline Wellness Center that between our doctors and metabolic coach, we've lost over 200 pounds. And actually probably close to 225 now. So we come with a lot of experience. We've been there. So that's just kind of a little bit about me. I love helping people live their greatest life. It's one of the things I get the most joy from, seeing people really, really engage in life that they always imagined for themselves. So hopefully the content that we'll talk about tonight will help you guys move in that particular direction for yourselves. So tonight, I want to talk about a few things. One is really kind of understanding the why behind the quarantine 19 happens, like really what happens. And then we'll talk briefly about the steps necessary to change after 25 years and thousands of patient interactions. Definitely have learned a few things that are critical for making those changes happen. And then you'll have an opportunity to take advantage of an appointment to come in and actually come into the office and look at a DNA-based metabolic program that we have that helps satisfy a lot of those needs for people. So we'll talk about that at the very end. So with that said, let's go ahead and get rolling. So when we start to look at this topic, why was this so important? And then why now? And why this group of people, the people that are in this webinar and listening to this. So one is that we're seeing an unprecedented time in the US of weight gain in the population, and it is severely affecting their health and their quality of life. Now, obviously, we're kind of using the quarantine 19 as kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. But what we have known about COVID-19 is that those people who carry extra weight have a significant greater risk of getting sick. So not only has the weight gain occurred, but it also increases risk as well. So it becomes a kind of a double-edged sword, or not even a double-edged sword, but it makes it exponentially dangerous to carry this extra weight. And why now? Well, simply the need to act now before these habits and this additional weight become more and more difficult to change. I think we all kind of get the idea that the longer these situations exist, the more difficult it is to change. And then last is why this group of people listening to this particular lecture. And what I found is that the people that see this information, hear this information, they recognize that there's a problem and the need for an immediate, effective, and lifetime solution. So that's why we put together this lecture. There's a great need, a great need right now, and it's for a specific segment of the population that recognizes that this is a problem and it has to change. So what we found and what I've learned over the years is people really, really are frustrated with a lot of things relative to this kind of quarantine 19. And I find people are really frustrated with seeing the scale kind of creep up week after week, even though they're trying to make things change. They're really frustrated with trying, like trying everything, like everything you can think of, and they're reading about all this crazy diets and all that kind of stuff, and like no change. Or all this effort and all this focus in like they lost a half pound or a pound over the course of a week or two, right? And then people are really frustrated, with things like their clothes not fitting and they're not feeling well, and they just don't like how they look and how they feel. So I get that people are really frustrated with this particular type of situation, and I find that the fear behind it is, the question is like, is this my new norm, right? Is this these extra, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds, whatever it might be for a particular person? Man, this is not what I want. My God, what's happened, and I'm not fitting in my clothes very well anymore. So I find that people are worried about that. Now, what I after surveying thousands of people with this, what we find is that what people really want is an easy to implement solution, right? Life is already complicated enough, right? So we need to have something that's easy to understand and easy to implement. And people want a lifetime permanent fix, right? If our goal was just to lose 10 pounds or 5 pounds, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that, right? But so many times we make these changes in ways that aren't sustainable. And as soon as we stop them or we get the first bump in the road, we're back, those 5 or 10 pounds we lost plus a couple more. So people want something easy to implement. They want a lifetime permanent solution or fix. And they want to be able to eat what they want, right? And eat foods that they enjoy and stuff like that. So I find that those are really kind of the key pieces that people are looking for. And the aspiration, or what people really, really are envisioning for themselves often is, loving healthy food, like just envisioning themselves like eating all this amazing food that they really enjoy. And second is they want to feel good about themselves. They want to feel good about their body image and fitting in the clothes and not have to shop in special sections and wonder if this time they're going to have to buy a larger size. And I know that because I've been there. And we aspire to engaging in an active, vital life, right? We want to be the ones running around in endless energy and doing all the things that we love to do. So this is kind of the driving force, is like, how do we figure that stuff out? Well, as we kind of transition now into understanding kind of this COVID effect, kind of some of the anatomy and physiology behind kind of what's going on, there's a few things. One, when we examine this particular time, there are what we refer to as physical stresses in our life that affect kind of our metabolism. So the physical stresses of this particular time for our bodies are just things like quarantine, right? I mean, we're out of our normal routines. We're kind of forced to stay at home, and with that comes things like binge watching and significantly less activity. Even if we had like a desk job before, we're not even getting up and walking around. We're not going to the mall. We're not going to the movies, or we're not doing other stuff. It's like it's really forced us to be even if we were sedentary before, even more sedentary now. So we've really restricted the ability to be active. Excuse me. And this is a necessity relative to metabolism. So it's not possible for our bodies to function properly and metabolize calories properly and move lymph through our body, which is like the body's sewer system that gets rid of the toxins in our body. And all these things contribute to a dysfunctioning of our metabolism. And not only that, but they slow the ability of our body to burn calories. So just the physical aspect of living through this time puts a lot of extra physical stresses on our body. Now, there's also what we refer to as biochemical stresses of this time. So this is things like stress eating, right? I mean, to unbelievable levels for some people. Limited foods that are available, right? So we're kind of thinking in, sometimes, especially early on when, everybody was really, really scared, there was, a lot of purchasing of foods that were, non-perishable. So, processed foods have a lot of chemicals in them. They tend to be high in sugar and all of that kind of stuff. And that's a lot of stuff for your body to deal with. And it's just not efficient at providing the nutritional needs that your body needs to function optimally. And then you throw in the dose of, they made it really, really easy to just order delivery, right? I mean, you look at the businesses that have grown, the food businesses that were available for order pickup or delivery, DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats and all this stuff, and all the restaurants that developed, to-go programs and meals for people, which was wonderful and amazing at times, but it also made it really easy to order food that maybe we would have had on occasion that wasn't the healthiest food, and now we are having it easily available on a regular basis to us, sometimes daily. So that all adds to this kind of chemical stress on our body that prevents our liver and our kidneys and our colon and our adrenal systems and all this stuff to actually function in a healthy way. So a tremendous amount of additional biochemical stress on our bodies. And then not to forget, in probably the most or the largest contributing factor to the kind of this quarantine 19 pounds, so to speak, is things like stress and worry and fear and what it does to our cortisol levels. The hormone effect of this time has been, and I think a lot of people have read about it in the news. Depression and suicides and purposelessness. All of those things create this chemical cascade inside our body that cause a lot of calorie storage, which is what fat is, and prevent calorie expenditure. When we're in really, really stressed out states or very worried or fearful states, not only does it shut down our immune system, but it also shuts down our metabolism. It makes it really, really difficult, if not virtually impossible, to actually lose weight. So when you stand back and look at COVID-19 and the quarantine and everything that went along with it, you really almost couldn't create a more perfect scenario for people to gain weight. With all of the situations we were put in, it makes it really difficult to maintain a healthy weight without knowing certain things about how to change that. So this is kind of how it happens for so many people. And a lot of times we just don't know what to do about it. So one of the key factors is that when these stressors kind of build up in our life, whether we're talking about the physical, the biochemical, and the emotional, or all of them together, or any other combination of them, they can overwhelm our body. And when that happens, it affects our health. And one of the things that it can do is definitely change or slow down our metabolism. And when that happens over a long period of time, the inevitable outcome is that you lose health and you gain weight as a part of that process. So that's kind of how the what I refer to as the COVID effect during this time relative to weight gain. So what I want to transition to now is kind of the physiology of weight gain and weight loss. And this is just some basic biochemistry. We're not going to dig super deep into this stuff because we could spend months on this type of stuff. So we're going to keep it really high level and not get too deep. At the end, I'll open up I'll unmute everybody, and you can ask questions, or you can send me a question in the group chat as well. So relative to the physiology of weight gain and weight loss, one of the things that we need to start kind of understanding is how blood sugar works and fat storage. So one of the things that happens, and I'd like to make sure everybody's kind of clear on this, is that when I say blood sugar, there's other names for that. That's also carbohydrate. Everybody kind of hears the word carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are just bunches of sugar or glucose bunched together or grouped together. So, so our body actually needs sugar to run, but it breaks down blood sugar into these little pieces, and those little pieces are called glucose. And that glucose is what goes from your stomach into your intestinal tract, which eventually goes into your blood. Now, how blood sugar works is when you eat food that has higher amounts of carbohydrates or higher amounts of sugar, then it increases your blood sugar level. Now, if you keep your blood sugar at a very particular level, your body will literally utilize it as it's actually being added, right? So when that happens, it's this nice balance of sugars coming in and then sugars being burned, right? It's nice and level, nice and even. But when we have these big spikes of blood sugar, right? When we eat, you know, something that's really, really high in carbohydrates, so we have a bunch of ice cream or we have some candy or we have a bunch of bread or a bunch of pasta or things that are really carbohydrate heavy, we get a very big spike of blood sugar. It goes up very rapidly. And once we go above a certain amount, our body can't process that much carbohydrate at one time. So what it does is it actually stores that excess carbohydrate. And when that happens, that's where that extra blood sugar goes, is it actually goes into your fat cells. So one of the common misconceptions that we've heard, and I think it might be common knowledge at this point, is eating fat doesn't make you fat, right? Because fat doesn't actually get stored in fat cells. It's sugar that gets stored in fat cells. And fat cells actually don't increase in number, they just increase in size. So as a person loses weight, we don't lose fat cells. Those fat cells just shrink back down to more normal size again. So here's an interesting thing about blood sugar and fat storage is that, you know, let's just say hypothetically someone was eating a very low amount of calories, right? Maybe 500 calories a day, like starving themselves, right? You could still eat those calories in a way that would actually cause fat storage or developing more fat. Simply because if you ate all those calories at one time, you would actually get a big spike in your blood sugar, and that extra blood sugar would be stored as fat. So it's one of those things that the idea behind blood sugar and fat storage is you want to keep blood sugar levels very even. You don't want to see big spikes or peaks and valleys, because that's what encourages development of increased fat composition in your body. So that's a real kind of high level view of what goes on. There's lots of things that occur with chronic things like this relative to diabetes, what it does to overall health and cardiovascular disease and all those types of things. But you can just remember relative to blood sugar that you want to keep things really, really, really even. And that's what helps kind of make sure that you're not storing extra sugar as body fat. Now, when we're trying to get rid of body fat, it's just the opposite. Right? So we actually need blood sugar to be low, right, in order for our central nervous system to realize that blood sugar is low and trigger the hormones that have to occur in order to start the transition or conversion from stored sugar, which is body fat, back into blood sugar so we can burn. Unless that sugar is low, you're never going to lose or change your body composition. So you can't have your blood sugar at a normal level and expect to actually change your body composition. It actually has to be below normal, and that has to trigger that effect. Now, there's tricks to that. And not necessarily tricks, there's just things to know about human physiology to make sure it works right. And that's actually the next piece of this is weight loss actually starts in your liver. Right? So in order to trigger your fat burning hormones, so there's a hormone that actually your liver produces that actually sends the signals and kind of opens the floodgate for those fat cells to dump that stored sugar into your bloodstream. That hormone, again, comes from your liver. So you actually have to have a liver that is functioning optimally. So even if you had restricted, say caloric intake, and say you even had a lowered blood sugar level, if your liver isn't functioning properly, you're going to have a really difficult time losing weight as well, because you're not producing the hormones that are necessary to facilitate that whole process. So many times our toxic state prevents our livers from working properly, and therefore creating not just a a specific hormone imbalance to triggering fat loss, but also other hormone imbalances as well. It's one of the missing pieces that a lot of times don't get addressed relative to body fat and composition changes. So many people and programs think about, well, let's just speed up the metabolism. Let's just make sure you burn more calories. And that's fine, but it's temporary, right? So, so what I have here is one of the tests we do in the office here. It's called a body composition analysis. And on the left the picture, you can see there's a bunch of data. On the right, there's the top left side of that picture is actually blown up. And the thing that's circled there is what's called the metabolic age. And this particular person came in, her weight was actually 243 pounds when she came in. She was actually in her mid-50s, and her metabolic age was 90 years old. So basically what this technology tells us is that she's had a lot of stressors, right? And probably some physical stressors, some biochemical stressors, some mental emotional stressors. And the effects on her actually slowed her metabolism to that of somebody 90 years old, literally almost 40 years older than she actually is. Well, if we look now, this was about 6 months later. She was down to 166 pounds, so she had lost 80 pounds already, and her metabolic age was down to 63. So this was all just simply focusing on getting her liver functioning properly again, cleaning up this process that occurs naturally, gets her body to facilitate in this normal production of hormones that cause this normal transition of stored blood sugar, which is body fat, into blood sugar so you can burn it. Just a normal process. So it's simply put, getting the liver from a dysfunctioning state to a proper functioning state. And this is about getting healthier to lose weight, right? All right, so having done this for, like I said, for years, there's a few keys to the success. And these are just a few that I've learned. I do a longer lecture that's the 13 keys to this type of stuff. So this is just 3 main ones that I think are really, really, really critical that I've learned after 25 years and thousands of patients. Number 1 is everybody is different, right? Most people have had this experience. I had this experience. You know, there's not one solution that works for everybody, right? We've all like maybe had a friend that said, oh, I did X, Y, and Z, and it worked great. I lost 30 pounds and I've kept it off for 10 years and no problems. You should do it too. And you try it, and what happens? It doesn't work, right? And simply put, that not everybody's different, right? What worked for that particular person may not necessarily work for you. Hallelujah, it worked for that person. We can celebrate that, but we have to understand that everybody's different. So there has to be a custom solution for everyone. There's got to be a way to figure out who this person is, what kind of drives them, what challenges, what problems with physiology are they having, how do we get things back on track. Programs that involve DNA testing, which are now available, that actually look at genetically what should your ratios be of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So we can actually do that through specific testing. It's actually part of the program that we do here, gives us that data. And what I found is that, and this research supports this tremendously, is that when you've got accountability, some sort of success type coaching, people do exponentially better. You've got someone who's pulling for you, right? Having coached people, again, for years now, I can tell you that sometimes, you know, whether we're at work or whether we're at home or whatever it might be, we've got, you know, one of 3 situations going on. One is that we've got someone that's super, super supportive. They're in it with you, and they're going to help you, and they're going to help you cook, and they're going to cheerlead, and they're going to support you, and they're going to do it alongside and all that kind of stuff. And that's amazing if you've got that person in your life that can do that. The next one is that you've got someone who's like supportive, but just don't ask them to do it, right? And then the third is like someone who's asking you if, are you sure you don't want to order pizza tonight, right? So having some sort of accountability partner or success coach that can actually, that's gonna hold you to what you said you want, right? Those people that have that type of support do exponentially better than those who don't. So having that person connected that's on your team, through thick and thin, so to speak, is a crucial part of being successful. So that can either, again, be a success coach as part of a program, or an accountability partner, or something who's in it to win it, just like you are. Number two thing is, natural is the only sustainable way, not artificial or temporary metabolism boosting things. So, things like HCG and all these things that just rev up our RM3, rev up our metabolism through drugs and manipulation, are just temporary, right? And in fact, they actually affect our health negatively. So many times they actually drill us deeper into the hole of metabolic dysfunction in the long term. So it's just not a sustainable thing. There's no question that people can lose weight on things like HCG. There's no question about it. People do it all the time. But we realize you're tricking your body into being pregnant. Like, that's the hormone. So are we really does that sound like a great idea for the rest of your life? Because believe me, when you stop taking HCG, what happens? You gain all the weight back, right? So we've got to really look at this as a natural way, and literally most people are not healthy enough to lose weight. So there's got to be a way to help people getting back on track and look at, how do you generate your body working the way it's supposed to, right? Healthy bodies function the way they're supposed to, and healthy bodies don't carry extra weight. It's that simple. Now, the last thing is that there has to be real solutions that stand up to time and function in actually real life, right? So everybody, right, can lose some weight by, eating radishes and drinking celery water for 2 weeks, right? Everybody's going to lose weight, right? But the reality is, are you really going to do that the rest of your life, right? Is that really sustainable? Right? So many people can lose 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds, or maybe more even, right? And the changes they've made are generating weight loss, which is good. However, when they start to look at, can I really do this forever? Right? And the reality is no. So there's got to be some way to actually figure out how to actually do something that's sustainable in real life, right? Are you really never going to go to a Super Bowl party and not have a slice of pizza and a beer again, right? I mean, are you never going to have birthday cake at a celebration? Well, of course not, right? So how does that fit into nutrition? How does that fit into your nutrition plan? So there's got to be reality put in there, and it's got to be taught in a way that people understand and really learn how to fuel their body so that it functions properly. So those are the three key things, with, as you kind of figured out, there's about 25 other key ones that I talked about through there. But those are the three like major pillars of really being successful, of getting on top of kind of the quarantine 19 again. So the reality for so many people is, every day a problem is present, it becomes one step closer to being permanent. So whether that's the extra 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 pounds that someone has gained during the quarantine 19 or COVID-19, the longer we wait to make changes and get support, the more difficult it is to lose that weight. So I can't encourage people enough to don't get complacent about this, right? We already have, for so many people, this fear of like, oh my God, is this the new normal? Is this the new, well, now I guess I'm just 20 pounds heavier from here on out. Well, don't allow that to happen, right? Because we know, again, the longer that situation exists, the longer that physiology exists, the more difficult it is to make those changes. So as I kind of wrap up and summarize kind of what we're talking about tonight, one is, what we know is that this particular crisis that we're going through right now has created very real health problems. And those very real health problems have the potential to affect your health for the rest of your life, right? So we know that. Just research after research after research shows us that when we apply these stresses and we create this type of change in our physiology, we're going to have challenges with our health in the future. It's that simple. And then the other thing we know is that the longer we wait to course correct, right, to make the change that we know are necessary, the more difficult it's going to be to change. So all of these, like I said, this quarantine 19 is still fresh, right? There's still a great time, a great opportunity to make those changes right now. So the reality, right, is we've got choices at this point, right? You can choose to do something, right? Which is obviously what I want to support people to do. I know the downside of what carrying 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 extra pounds is. And if you choose to do something, right, you get back on track, right? And you might even generate an even better health future for you and your family, right? You have that opportunity right now. If you don't act, right, the reality is the spiral continues, right? It's not like if we're going downhill and we do nothing, we just stop. No, we actually get worse, right? Our physiology becomes more and more dysfunctional. We create more and more health problems, and it becomes more difficult to change the situation the longer it goes on. So obviously, my encouragement is you have to do something. Well, you don't have to do anything, right? Other than actually experience the consequences of whatever your choices are. So I want you to take action and make some of these changes, not just for yourself, but also for your loved ones and those that care about you as well. So what's the next step, right? So in a simple one phrase answer, you have to find a solution that works for you. And that is, there are so many pieces that go into that and sorting through all the stuff that's out there. And that's part of why we do this particular class and our webinars and stuff like that, is we want to help people give direction, right? You know, we've had amazing opportunities to work with hundreds and thousands of people over the years and help people really regain and live their greatest life. So sharing that information, and there is hope and there is a way to change it, because I can tell you there are people all the time that do it. I just got to meet with a wonderful gentleman today who's been really struggling with his weight for about 30 years. And he just completed his 3-month program, 6-month program, and he lost 60 pounds. And he's doing amazing, right? He's running, and he's more active than he's been. He's got more energy than he's ever he's had in years. And he looks and feels great, right? You should see him. You know, he's like, you know, his wife is like, wow, looks amazing. So it's really cool. So it's just, you have to not give up and find a solution that works for you. Find a way to navigate those challenges. So one of the options and one of the services that are available here, and this is where the opportunity that you'll have, is to engage in what's called the Activate Metabolics program. And the Activate Metabolics program is a program we chose to work with and partner with after evaluating programs for over a decade. We found this one really aligned with us because it hit all the key factors. Number one, it was based on science. It's based on DNA testing, which we know that people who follow a DNA-based eating plan lost 2.5 times more weight than those who didn't. We know that when we have that data, when your DNA reveals what your macros, what ratios of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates you should be eating, that's never going to change. You know that for the rest of your life. So it's not something that you have to like kind of have to follow the next fad, right? Like those ratios are those ratios. So that's a big piece. The strategic eating, so learning about food timing and food combining and how to actually boost your metabolism and get your liver functioning properly, and really engaging and learning that process so that you own it, that you're not dependent upon someone else for help, that you can actually learn that information. Supplements or nutritional formulas that support not weight loss, but healthy physiology. Right? If you want to just speed up your metabolism, you know, have you considered like meth? Right? It's amazing. Have you ever seen an overweight meth addict? I mean, I joke about it, but really, right? So it's not about just increasing your metabolism. It's actually about getting healthy. So the Activate Metabolics program includes baseline supplementation that's not designed to help you lose weight. It's designed to help you be healthy. And the natural byproduct of that actually is weight loss. And then the key component, and one of the favorite pieces for me, is the support. A team behind you that's there to help you on regular intervals, everywhere from meeting once every 7 to 10 days to every 2 weeks to once a month, depending on the phases of the program you're in and stuff like that. So an amazingly supportive DNA-based plan that focuses on an all-natural eating eating plan that delivers unbelievable support and education to really help set you up for success for the rest of your life. So if that's something that seems like that makes sense, you'll probably want to take advantage of the offer. And the offer tonight, as we talked about before, is procrastination is the thief of health, right? Is that the longer we wait, the more difficult it is to change. So if you're ready to kind of start and take a step and get some help, and this program aligns with you, you can find out real easily. So the next step is then to schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of our doctors, which may be me or Dr. Calabo or one of our metabolic coaches. And you can do that now either in person or virtual. So we can do it both ways. Now the consult, when you do it in person, is going to include a body composition analysis. So like the picture I showed you in the lecture that had the metabolic age, right? And we're going to do that test, and it's going to pull up things like your body mass index, your body fat percentages, your hydration levels, and visceral fat, and bone mass, and muscle mass, and lean body fat mass, and all kinds of different information. So really detailed of really what's going on physiologically for you. It'll include a consultation with the doctor, a complete health history, and then we're going to be able to come up with custom recommendations for you specifically to meet your goals based on your health and where you need to get to accomplish the goals you have. If we do this virtually, it's the same thing, except obviously we can't do the body composition analysis, but we can do some questions to kind of pull out some of the things of where you're at and be able to make some recommendations based on there. Obviously the in-person allows us to be a little more detailed. Now, normally this consultation is $100 and $99. However, if you schedule an appointment tonight, and tonight only, it's actually complimentary. There's no charge for it. So a great opportunity to kind of find out if we're a good fit and how we can support you best. So how you take advantage of this gift is really simple. First thing is you have to go to our website, and that's lifealignedwellness.com. Right, so really simple. I'll type it in the chat box here so that you've got it, and that way you can go to there. You can copy paste the web address there, or just type in lifealignedwellness.com. When you're at our website, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Schedule Now button, and that's in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then it'll open another page. You're going to select the appointment type that you'd like. So there's going to be 6 different appointment types. The first 2 are going to be chiropractic appointments. The second 2 are going to be DNA-based weight loss appointments. The first of those 2, so the third appointment down, is going to be the in-person, I believe, consultation. The fourth appointment down is going to be the virtual DNA-based weight loss appointment. So select whichever time you'd like. When you select that, it's going to populate the times that are available. Just click on whatever time that you'd like, and then you'll fill out the rest of the data. Now, here's the key. In order to actually get the discounted the fee, so you don't have to pay for the consultation, you have to enter the code webinar into the discount code box. It's all capitals, webinar, and that will ensure that you don't have to pay for the appointment. All right? So that's all you got to do. Go to the website, Schedule Now button, pick the type of appointment, either in-person or virtual for the DNA-based weight loss. Enter the code webinar, enter your contact information, and we'll put you in the schedule. And we'll actually be in contact with you since this is the last day of the week we're open, so we'll contact you on Monday with any other specifics and paperwork and stuff like that. Now, until then, for those of you who are really ready to kind of take advantage of this, I want to give you an assignment. The first thing is I want you to try to do intermittent fasting for one night. Now, what that means is I want you to go without any calories, right? So the only thing you can have is water, right? For 16 hours, right? So what that means is you would, hypothetically, you would eat between noon and 8 p.m. and then not eat again until noon the next day, right? I'd like you to try that once, right? And the other thing is I'd like you to try to reduce caffeine, right? So there's many reasons for that. One of them is that if we've got a stressful situation, caffeine can actually drive the adrenal system a little further, which can actually inhibit your metabolism as well. So, so those are the two things for your assignment. I want you to try intermittent fasting, and I want you to try to reduce caffeine between now and when we meet for your consultation. All right, so thank you so much for your time. What I want to do is unmute everybody. So everybody should be unmuted here. And you can definitely ask some questions. At least I think everybody should be unmuted. So you can try and do that. You might have to click on a button. For some reason, mine's not working. So you might have to unmute yourself on your end. So if you've got some questions, you can definitely chime in, or you can write them in the group chat box. I'd be happy to answer them for you. Give it just a minute here for someone to chime in or to write a question. Happy to answer about anything. So hopefully this information tonight will serve you in kind of getting back on track and give you some direction for some help if that's something that you need. We would be honored to serve you and help you kind of get back on track. So we love to see people just accomplish their goals. It's really exciting and very fulfilling to see that. So one of the most beneficial things that we do. Really satisfying for us. So, all right, so I don't see any questions, so let's go ahead and wrap up for tonight. So again, thank you so much for joining me for this class. Again, hopefully you got some great usable information that you can put on the ground and start changing. For those of you that are interested in taking advantage of this special opportunity tonight, make sure you go to the website and sign up and register for that. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the office soon. All right, have a great rest of the day, and let's get rid of that quarantine 19. Have a great night.